made my way from Kansas to Colorado to Utah, and now I'm actually in Arizona. I am somewhere near Grand Canyon National Park. It's been about 4 days of being on the road by myself. I asked a few friends, but some of them already been to this area. Some already had plans. I would be lying if I said that I wasn't scared. First, I got the license, yes, but it was after 6 hours of practical driving, and then I had the test. I couldn't really trust myself, but the first day turned out to be quite okay actually.
If fear wasn't a factor, what's one small step you would take towards your dream life today? This solo road trip scared me, but if I had backed out, I would have missed one of the most life-changing adventures of my 20s. This is a story of a solo car camping trip across 2,700 miles in the US alone, and how saying yes to yourself often looks like starting before you feel ready and choosing courage over fear one step at a time. Here's how saying yes to one scary idea changed everything for me. Van life has been something I've wanted to get into for a while now. I had this quiet vision of living out of a vehicle, traveling slowly, waking up to mountains, and sleeping under the stars. It sounded simple, but honestly, it felt scary, and my mind kept coming up with reasons to say no and to protect me from getting into uncomfortable situations. The obstacles included getting my first ever driver's license, navigating a foreign country, and figuring out the logistics of a life on the road. This solo car camping trip wasn't just about checking off an adventure, but on a deeper level, going forth the trip was about building self-trust, even when I felt uncertain. There's something about the freedom of a life on the road that I want to live. My initial plan was to try to find a few friends who might be interested to rent a camper van to go on road trips. After asking around, I quickly realized that it was going to be difficult to get people who shared similar values that are on the same page. So I decided to go ahead solo so that I could clock in the hours of driving, experience the freedom, and explore wherever I wanted to, and to travel at my own pace. That also meant that I had to pay more because I could not split costs. Go through a learning process of figuring out how car camping works as a beginner, and overcoming fear in the pursuit of this dream. While it was not an actual van life experience, car camping was a close enough alternative that allowed me to get a taste of my dream lifestyle without the need for lots of gear and still have the intended outcome of experiencing the beautiful national parks and feeling free on the road, which honestly was the main point. After one of my previous videos where we reflected together about our core values, I had this question. Can we reason why certain values are more important to us than others? For me, adventure was high up on the list. Adventures make us feel more fully alive and free, and feeds us with the energy and excitement of exploration, discovery, and surprise. Chasing the feeling of aliveness makes me feel connected to the highest version of myself. I realized that adventure is the steadfast work of overcoming challenges and not having a definite outcome of succeeding, because failing can also be part of the adventure too. It is the feeling of accomplishment when you try to give a shot at something you've always wanted to do, even if you were unable to reach your goal or have things turn out the way that you imagined it to. Bringing adventure into the core being of my life has been rewarding with a sense of engagement, while also bringing up challenges and growth moments along the way. If you're new here, I'm turning 29 this July and grew up in Singapore, but have been traveling abroad and living nomadically for the past 2.5 years. If you're navigating through how to intentionally live your life, or you are taking time to ponder about what living with purpose looks like for you, I share stories on this channel of figuring out how to live a slow travel lifestyle through unconventional solo adventures, honest reflections, and all the messy in-betweens. I believe that life is too precious to live on autopilot, so if you're craving a life that feels more aligned to your values, your dreams, and your own pace, let's explore what that could look like together. It's crazy to look back at the different terrains and situations I drove in after just less than 15 hours of driving beforehand. Wishing for good weather and perfect conditions to drive was not possible. Getting on the road meant that I had to keep driving even when I felt scared. This just looks so creepy. I'm gonna get out. Freaking scary. I remember my first stressful drive into a crowded 5-lane highway in Colorado that was super busy. The first time I drove along a narrow 2-way road, or driving at high altitudes when it was raining, or also windy roads. Days before going on the road trip, I had the most basic of questions related to car camping that I thought were so silly. But if you've not done something or had it modeled for you before, how would you have known? I researched everything from where to sleep or park my car, Googling about filling up at petrol stations in the States, and yes, even how to fill a car with petrol and what kind of petrol to select, as well as trying to get an idea of how to plan for a multi-day car camping road trip. While on the trip, I also had to figure out how I was going to cook outdoors, what type of gas was I supposed to get from Walmart, and having to think 2 steps ahead and being aware of the amount of gas in the fuel tank. It was just a whole lot of very random questions that I had in my head. On hindsight, it was exactly because I didn't have a concrete plan that increased the sense of adventure of this road trip even more. I had to fight the urge to feel like I've had everything figured out and knew that going about the road trip this way would allow for space for spontaneous things to come up, and that I will be able to travel and adjust my pace accordingly. It was liberating knowing that I would be okay even when I didn't have a solid plan. Good morning. We made it to the north rim of the Grand Canyon National Park, and yesterday we slept in the Kaibab forest, and it was about an hour drive from here, and it's pretty high up in elevation here and quite cold, but we caught like sunrise on the way up. There are a lot of cars here. I think they slept here overnight. Pack up the car a little bit. Yesterday's sleep was not too bad. It was scary at first, like going into the dispersed camping lot, because it was like gravelly and I didn't really know the rules. But after I checked out like what are some things to look out for while camping, it was okay. Traveling and exploring solo was not exactly new to me. I am very comfortable with being alone without feeling lonely. However, sleeping alone in the car for the first few days was scary. My nervous system was heightened and on high alert. So this is the camping site that I will stay at tonight. God bless. It looks so scary like that, but I can see that there's like a car inside there as well, so let's just check it out. Searching for parking spots in random places also felt unusual and uncomfortable. I constantly had questions like, am I trespassing? Will someone wake me up in the middle of the night? Or what if some people decided to cause harm and trouble? What if the tree falls on the car in the middle of the night? It's crazy what our brain conjures up to protect us from situations that we are not used to keep us safe. Being alone was scary when I found myself in the dead quiet of the night in the middle of vast nature. Being alone driving for 2 hours in remote roads on the mountain and seeing your fuel tank approaching low was terrifying. Being alone and driving for hours, feeling sleepy or dozing off from time to time was dangerous, but still having to keep going required grit and resilience. I decided to come here where there's civilization. It was so creepy. So just now I was driving up into Grand Canyon National Park. It's only like 6, almost 7, and it's like this dark. My perception of time is strange now. because I've been traveling through time zones as well. But on the drive up, it was pitch black, and halfway I was like, okay, no. Even if I drive up there, I'm not gonna stay here because there were like a lot of trees in the forest, and then there were signs saying like, beware of falling trees. So I'm thinking like if I park there for the night and sleep in the car with trees around me, it's kind of scary. So I came down here, probably gonna go in and check out what's there. Yeah, I just feel much safer with people around and probably will stay here for the night. I'd rather be in a place where it's like an open field without anything like looming over me. So on my drive down, or when I was parked next to the road, just to check like on Google Maps and stuff to see where I could disperse camp, I felt really strange. I felt like something was watching me. And then I heard like really weird sounds. But it was pitch black outside, so I couldn't see anything. But with my headlights on, I made a U-turn to the other side of the road. And when I did, I saw like many eyes looking at me. And it turns out that there was a herd of cows staring straight at me in the face. And they're probably just curious, but I got so scared because like it was weird. I was not expecting to see like, and they were quite huge, and they were just like slaughtered in between the dark forest. So I screamed and was so glad that I made the decision to come out. So found a little what with like a bench overlooking the canyon and next to this patch of pine trees, and we're gonna do what we've been trying to do for a long time, which is outdoor cooking. I'm very excited. I hope it works out. So we're gonna grab our ingredients and then head over to the table over there. I am very happy about this. It's working. It's getting warm. So now that it's working, first we're gonna boil water and make some coffee, and then we're gonna do some eggs and then pack some burritos for today and tomorrow, so we don't have to cook again and set up everything. This road trip definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone, and having come across random situations and collecting evidence that I have the ability to figure things out when required breeds courage. As each day passes and with every new drive, I found myself growing with confidence and building trust. If I had not dared to go for the road trip because of the self-doubt that I had, I would never have gotten to see what's on the other side of the fear. So say yes. Say yes to yourself and give yourself the chance to experience what's on the other side. Say yes to the life that you have dreamed of, and say yes to try even when it's scary. We often interpret fear as a signal to turn around, back away, or to retreat to safety. It feels like a red light blinking, but what if fear is not a dead end, but actually a directional cue? What if the knot in your stomach, the quickened heartbeat, and the swirl of what ifs in your head don't mean stop, but instead it's gentle whispers saying, this is important to you, this is the edge of your growth, and this is the path that leads you to your evolution. Fear then becomes a signpost and a gentle nudge pointing you towards a threshold that you're meant to cross, a signal that you're on the right road, not the wrong one. If you're lucky enough to find a way of life that you love, you have to find the courage to live it. Every time I chose courage over fear, I become a bit more of the woman that I dreamed to be. The most common comment I get when I got back from this road trip was, wow, you're so brave. But to be honest, I did not start out this way. I don't feel like I am the typical adventurous girl because I didn't grow up exploring the outdoors much. But I would love to become someone adventurous, and that begins with taking every small step and saying yes to every adventure that I wish to go on. We owe that much to ourselves to chase our dreams, so go, say yes, even if your voice shakes. I call this a success. It's a bit less than ideal because it didn't really cook properly, so I would have wished to cook more. I think this is perfect. It was really fun that I could enjoy a breakfast actually really feeling. And now we're gonna pack up and start driving. I'm very happy. There are so many stories I could tell about taking the leap and building a life abroad. The doubts, the turning points, and the freedom that followed. But I want this space to speak to all of you guys. If there's something that you are curious about, whether it's how to plan for starting over, what it really feels like to leave everything behind, or wanting to see more unconventional adventures, do drop a comment and let me know. If you're on your own journey of figuring things out, or dreaming of a different kind of life, this channel is all about intentional living, life transitions, and the quiet courage it takes to choose a path less traveled, and everyone is invited. Until the next adventure, bye!